It's a new day. Yes, it is.
I want to read you some stats. I would like to read you some stats before I get into what I want to talk about today. Let's just read these stats off. These stats are from a NFL quarterback. It's his playoff stats. He had 12 playoff games, and he went 5-7. He completed 59% of his passes for 2,965 yards. He had 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And he went 5-7. Not great. Pretty average. Nothing to call home about. Let me give you Lamar Jackson's playoff stats. 3-5, 60% completion percentage, 1,700 yards, 10 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not great. Nothing to call home about. Another 3 touchdowns rushing, so 13 total. You want to know who that first quarterback stats? You want to make a guess? You want to guess who that quarterback is? Do you have any idea who that quarterback is? I tell you, that quarterback is the beloved Phillip Rivers. The quarterback that everybody loves. The feel-good story. The man with the 10 kids. The one who came back to try to save the Indianapolis Colts only to lose every game that he played in. You guys love Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers played in the league for 17 years, not even counting this year. 17 years Phillip Rivers played in the league, and he only went to the playoffs 7 times. So that means 10 other times Phillip Rivers didn't even make the playoffs. So half of the years that Phillip Rivers was in the NFL, he never made the playoffs. Let me give you some more stats. This quarterback went 8-10 in the playoffs with 56% completion percentage, 32 touchdowns, 24 interceptions. He played in the league also for 17 years, and he only made the playoffs in 10. Better than Phillip Rivers. You want to know who that quarterback was? Dan freaking Marino. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I understand it makes you uncomfortable. A lot of you uncomfortable when we talk about race and racism. It makes you uncomfortable probably because you know that it's true. But you don't want to believe that it's true. There is something that's called, that they taught me at the Ohio State University. If I wasn't going to go into sports journalism, my backup plan was I wanted to be a profiler, like an FBI profiler. Like, I didn't want to be no cop or nothing. I didn't want to be no detective. I wanted to be a profiler. I was interested in, like, serial killers and stuff, like what went through their minds. I was very interested in the mind, like how minds work. And so I took a lot of psychology classes, took classes on, where you body language and cues and all of this. So I took a lot of classes in that when I wasn't taking, journalism classes. And they teach you something that's called inherent bias. And we all have it. So it's not like something like I'm saying only white people got, only black people got. Everybody has an inherent bias. It's something that's built into you, maybe from your upbringing, from your parents. It can come from a lot of different places. But we all have it. And it activates when we see it. Even if we don't consciously think about it. It activates in our head. Sometimes, a lot of times, it can be activated by other individuals. And because the majority of people in the world, especially in America, are followers. They're not leaders. That's another thing that they teach you. The majority of people in America are followers. They want to be told what to do. See, Reese 4466622. See, he didn't even listen. This is what I mean about inherent bias and not listening. Now, what did I just tell you, Reese? I just told you there's two quarterbacks, Dan Marino and Phillip Rivers, who have similar situations that Lamar Jackson has. But are you trying to tell me that the conversations around those quarterbacks are equal? See, that's where you're not listening, Reese. I'm not excusing what's Lamar Jackson's performance. What I'm asking you is, are the conversations about similar type of performances equal? Answer me that, Reese, and answer it honestly. Is it equal? Is it the same? Is it the same? Are they spoke about equally? We're supposed to be journalists. We're supposed to we don't supposed to see things personally. We don't supposed to have bias. So you tell me, Reese, if Lamar Jackson has the same type of game as Josh Allen, let's say they had this exact same type of game on a Sunday, on Monday, are they going to be talked about the same? Now, honestly, be honest about it. You know that's not true, Reese. You know it's not true. And if you think that is true, you're lying to yourself. And I tell you why, as we get back to inherent bias. Most people are followers. They want to be told what they should think, right? So if they're told that Lamar Jackson can't pass, that's what they're going to think. If they told that they simplified the offense for Lamar Jackson, that is what they're going to think. Because they're followers. Doesn't matter if it's factual, it's an inherent bias. So what's the inherent bias, you say? Well, the inherent bias for black quarterbacks was they can't be quarterbacky. The inherent bias for athletic quarterbacks, well, they were just runners. The inherent bias going all the way back, as far as you want to go back with black people in general, is that we are not smarter than white people. It's an inherent bias. I remember when the professor said that for some individuals, and these individuals don't even believe that they're racist, that the poorest, most to doomed white person in the world still feels that he can be better than the most successful. He's better than the most successful black man out there. And you don't believe me? See how people talk about Barack Obama. These are facts. It started the day that Lamar Jackson was drafted. If Lamar Jackson was white, it'd have been a number one draft pick. And I know what you're going to say. I know what the next thing is that, well, Rob, black quarterbacks have been the number one picks before in the draft. That is correct. I'm not saying that that's not true. What I'm saying is, just look at the ones that were drafted. I remember they told Cam Newton, you can't have any tattoos. We want you to look a certain way for us to be, why was, and here's say, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders were not that far apart. But Cam Ward doesn't have Deion Sanders as his father. It's inherent bias. It's the whole, well, you're not like them, so it's okay. Lamar Jackson's mom was his agent. They ain't like that. They don't like that version of the black quarterback. They don't treat him the same. How many quarterbacks in NFL history have had 4,000 yards passing, a 40-plus TD passing year, and at least 900 yards rushing? Not in one year, just combined in their careers. None. He did it in 1 year. 1 year. And you'll still have people say, well, he's not a passer. You know how many perfect passer ratings Lamar's had? It's many. You know who, for a very long time, had the number one passer rating in NFL history? This has nothing to do. Running does not account for passer rating. It was Lamar Jackson. These are facts. But the stereotypes are still there. I said this with Arch Manning. This is the difference in inherent bias. You can't have any more different than Arch. They all want Arch Manning to be great. They want him to be great. So what happens is when he's not great, they make excuses. And then when he's better, they say he has haters. See, that's inherent bias the other way. They want Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl. Just so they can say, see, we told you Josh Allen was better than Lamar Jackson. It's inherent bias. It's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl, has played in 2 Super Bowls. I was there for both of them. Both times, in both Super Bowls, Jalen Hurts was the best quarterback, the best player on the field in the Super Bowl, the biggest game in America. And people will still sit back and say, we want to bench him. We don't want Jalen Hurts. He just had us. Jalen Hurts is the only Super Bowl quarterback that has ever been dinged and knocked for having good players around him. Every single team that's ever won the Super Bowl has had good players. Only Jalen Hurts said, well, his team was stacked. Hello? How old are you guys? I remember the Dallas Cowboys. I remember the San Francisco 49ers. I remember Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers. Every team is stacked. Jalen Hurts, he got stacked. The only reason he won is because he had good players around him. What? You telling me if Brock Purdy won the Super Bowl that would be the narrative? You telling me if Brock Purdy, if Samuel Darnold, if Bodacious Nix, who else? Baker Mayfield, if any of these guys won the Super Bowl, Drake May, if any of these guys won the Super Bowl, do you think anybody would say, well, we're not going to give them credit because they had a really good team. They had a really good defense. That just doesn't happen. Black people are judged differently. We have to live to a higher standard. And even the highest standard doesn't work. I don't know what more you would want from Jalen Hurts. He went out there, he outdueled Patrick Mahomes twice. And still gets no credit. All this stupid stuff about game manager, game changer, none of that matters. When the lights are on, when it's big time play needs to be made, who makes the play, who doesn't make the play? It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And don't get me wrong, there probably are some people out there that are just like, well, Lamar hasn't played well, anything. But if you really look at it, if you really look at the context, his last 6 playoff games, he's 3-3. And in those games, we've had a fumble at the 1-yard line that probably would have won him the game. We have a fumble by Mark Andrews and a drop at the end zone that probably would have won him the game. Last year in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson was 73%, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Passer rate of 122. I think you got to, and he ran for 120 yards in 2 games. It's hard to win championships. Ask Dan Marino. Ask Phillip Rivers. Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, only won 1. Drew Brees, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, only won 1. And these guys have played 20 years. So don't tell me it's easy. Don't act like it's easy. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks right now. And he hasn't won anything. See, they don't like context. Oh, he doesn't play. No. Look at Peyton. You want me to pull up Peyton Manning's first playoff games? Oh, yeah, I can do that. We have the internet. Peyton Manning's first playoff game, 19 of 42, 227 yards. Yeah, that's your Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning went 0-3 in his first 3 playoff games. 19 of 42, 17 of 32, 14 to 31. He's 0-3. He was 30 years old when he won his Super Bowl. 30. He had been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. His record in the playoffs before he won the Super Bowl 6, 7 was 3-7. Lamar's 3-5. His career is not over. His career is not over. When Peyton Manning got his gift Super Bowl with the Broncos, completed 55% of his passes. He was one of the worst Super Bowl winning quarterbacks of all time. And here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. Peyton Manning has some of the greatest regular season stats of all time. But he didn't necessarily win a Super Bowl in those years. Did he? Peyton Manning has a season where in 16 games he threw for 5,400 yards and 55 touchdowns. And he got destroyed in the Super Bowl. Hard to win championships. And I was around when Peyton was losing a lot. They didn't talk about him the way they talk about Lamar Jackson. They didn't. Where is Reese? Reese, where are you? Combat some of these facts. Combat some of these facts. People are going to say, well, Rob, why are you bringing up the race card? It's the race card. It's the race card. It's because people are racist. There's racism. 90% of media that covers the NFL are white males. They have inherent bias. They grew up and they wanted to be high school quarterbacks. They wanted the head cheerleader, but they ended up in journalism. Maybe the brothers took one of their girlfriends. I don't know. But I know 90%, 85, 90% of the people that cover the NFL are white males, and they can't be trusted. Not with this type of information. They don't know how to parse it out. They don't know how simply to say, well, listen, here's the context. Lamar's played pretty well in the playoffs the last couple of years, just with some bad breaks. Similar to other quarterbacks that took 5, 10, however many years before they got through. Some quarterbacks get through early, like Russell Wilson. Won one early, and you see what happened after. It happens. It's difficult. It's a very difficult thing, but they don't like to parse it out. This is what gets me. When they say it's such coded language, when I saw somebody say today that they had beef with Lamar Jackson because the coaching staff created an offense to his strengths. It's a man that threw 41 touchdown passes and ran for 900 yards. He has a lot of strength. He has a lot of strength. I would hope that a coaching staff would work with that. If I had a guy that can run for 900 yards and also throw for 41 touchdowns, I would want to play to those strengths. This was an off year for Lamar, right? He was hurt a lot. You could tell by the way he was running. He was never 100%. He was never 100% from the first injury that he had. Passer rating was still 103.8. Still one of the top passer rates. Still, he only played 13 games, still managed 21 touchdowns. Didn't even play up to his standards. He didn't play up to his standards. But he still is better than 95% of the players that are out there playing right now. These are facts. Bo Nix played 17 games, 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, 63% completion percentage. Lamar Jackson played 13 games, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 63% completion percentage. So you tell me what's the difference? Difference is, the Broncos had a terrible, didn't have to play anybody, and they had a really good defense. These are facts, not feelings. You don't want to say it makes you uncomfortable, but it's okay. I say it for you. They have inherent biases. They may not be racist. They may not cross the street when they see a black person, but their inherent bias is telling them in their brain that this black guy can't be as good of a quarterback as this white guy. It's because this is what they've been told for 20 years. It's hard to get it out your system when you've been told that. He's just a runner. He can't pass. Or they got to simplify the offense. Let me tell you something about young quarterbacks, because I'm going to assume they talk about when he was younger. They simplify the offense for all young quarterbacks. Here's what the crazy thing is. If you watch the game on Sunday, because of course Lamar Jackson, I guess, is a kicker too. He brought them back 4 times in that game on Sunday, but he's no good though. Whatever. I guess he was the one that got beat on the double move and slipped and let Aaron Rodgers throw an easy touchdown. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess that was his fault. But if you watch the game on Sunday, and I'll be honest, I had to mute it after a certain amount of time of listening to Chris Collinsworth. I had to. I'm sorry. But you would think that what Aaron Rodgers was doing was basically calling an offense on his own, which we know is not true because as soon as the stuff went off in his helmet, he was freaking out because he couldn't hear anything. But let me tell you something. Now come a little closer. What Aaron Rodgers was doing at the line of scrimmage and what Lamar Jackson was doing at the line of scrimmage, same thing. There's no difference. There's no difference. Lamar Jackson checks protections, change routes, potentially changes plays. He does all of the same things that Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers is not special in that sense. Aaron Rodgers has a lot of experience. He knows what the hell he's doing most of the time. But then again, he threw 3 fades to MVS when they had a chance to win the division a week before. So what the hell are we talking about? But that inherent bias that the white quarterback must be doing something extra. Like Aaron Rodgers is the only person that ever checked to a play. He's the first quarterback to ever change a route, and say, just run this. That happens in every game. Every quarterback does that. Every quarterback can look out and be like, look, instead of running this, run that. Hey, do this. They got a little hand signal. Every quarterback does that. It's not special. But it's special because that's what they want you to believe. And that's how you get the inherent bias. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I'm trying to break your brain free from the matrix. The reason they telling you that Aaron Rodgers is doing something special is because they want you to think that's what the white quarterback does. But every quarterback does that. White, black, Mexican, whatever. There's a quarterback out there. They can look around and be like, hey, do this, do that. No, change that. That's not unusual. That's what the quarterback position is for. I mean, Brock Purdy does the Dougie, and everybody thinks it's the greatest. See, they want the culture, not the person. They want the culture. What they get Trevor Lawrence the grill. See, that's cool, right? Brock Purdy do the Dougie. That's cool, right? So they want the culture, not the person. Give us some of the culture, but let's keep the person. These are facts, not feelings. Let me get to some of these comments. I had to get that off my chest. I'll talk about Zion here in a minute. Let's see. Hey, Chris, I'm down. Yesterday was my birthday. So feeling good. Had my wife did some real special stuff. I got some cool gifts. I don't know if you guys saw, I got a record player here for Christmas, and my wife got me some records. So as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna put some records on, see how this works. I'm gonna start me a record collection because that's what old people do. That salute to you. Salute to you. Reese, where you at, bud? Reese is gone, I guess. Reese is gone. Tony, how you doing? Mick says Reese is thinking. I think Reese is gone. Reese is gone. What they gonna say if Jalen wins another Super Bowl? He gonna be a game manager with 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 rings. You see Cooper DeJean is knocking down Nikki Bella. Bob Purdy's not winning the Super Bowl. I mean, we'll see. Probably not. But you never know. I think it's open, and now actually going to get to some playoff predictions and stuff. But I think it's open to pretty much anybody who gets hot. Now, they hate context. Absolutely, they don't want no context. They don't want context. Oh no. They created an offense. Here's the thing about this is what makes me so frustrated. Q. This is what makes me so frustrated. How many QB powers does Buffalo run in the game? How many QB draws do Buffalo run in the game? How many? They run a lot, don't they? How many QB runs that Buffalo runs in the game? They run a ton, right? But nobody ever says, well, they just dumbed down their offense because Josh Allen is 260 pounds. Nobody's ever said that about Josh Allen. Ever. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have similar traits. Josh Allen's just bigger, so he gets more rushing touchdowns. But in general, the way they play and the way that the coaches coach them is pretty much the same. But you never hear that they dumb down the thing. You never hear that Josh Allen is not a passer. Josh Allen completion percentage is not great over his career. It's not. 64%. It's 64%. Lamar Jackson's is 64%. Lamar Jackson has 187 passing touchdowns in his career. Now, I will say Josh Allen's availability is a big deal. He has 220 passing touchdowns. He also has 94 interceptions. Lamar Jackson has 78 interceptions. So he turns the ball over less. I mean, they're the same. I mean, he has a couple of MVPs. He has an MVP. They've had issues in the playoffs. Josh Allen in the playoffs is 7-6. I mean, he's played well in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. In the playoffs, Josh Allen has played better. And he just run up against, Kansas City. But nobody ever says they dumb down the offense for Josh Allen. They never say that. Never. And Lamar Jackson wasn't like I said, he wasn't healthy all year. After those first 4 games. And listen, it wasn't Lamar Jackson that was giving up those big leads that he was getting them. He missed half of those games. Really 11 games. He played 11 games and had the same stats as Bo Nix. I hope Brian Flores. That's the other thing. Everybody's crying about John Harbaugh. They're crying about John Harbaugh. They're crying. I can't believe they did this. They blaming Lamar Jackson and what. Listen. It's not that John Harbaugh is a bad coach. It's like 18 years of anything is enough. It's enough. Listen, every great coach, there's a time limit to it. Going back to Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Andy Reid, Tony Dungy. It's just after a while, you need to move on. You've hit the wall. And here's the thing: without Lamar Jackson, he would have been fired 6 years ago. Lamar Jackson gave him 8 more years. He was on the verge of being fired. If Lamar Jackson went to a different team, he wouldn't be there right now. So he should be thanking Lamar Jackson for giving him an extra 8 years. And maybe he pulls an Andy Reid. Maybe he goes somewhere else and he's really, really good somewhere else. Maybe his voice needs to be heard in a different place. They've tuned it out in Baltimore. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just the way they had tuned Andy Reid out in Philadelphia. Gets to a different place, lucks up on Patrick Mahomes, and there you go. Also, it can work the other way. Tony Dungy leaves Tampa. John Gruden comes in, they win the Super Bowl next year. So if it's Brian Flores or Mike Minter or whatever, the mentor guy from whoever it is, may just be a new voice could be the difference between, I don't know. Sometimes it's weird like that. It's just the difference between the fumble or missed kick. It's the world works in mysterious ways like that. Yeah. Joe Brady actually dumbed down all. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He was turning over a lot. Something, let me tell you something about clickbait, Jar Jar. And I always found clickbait to be a stupid term. And I tell you why. Why wouldn't I want you to click? Okay. Oh, that's the stupidest term. Why wouldn't I want you to click? Now, I'm not lying to you. See, that's the difference. That's misinformation, right? But why wouldn't I want you to click? Of course, I'm trying to bait you to click. I need people to watch. That's how, I stay in business. So, of course, I'm baiting you. But what I do, which is different, is I tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson got Mariah Mills knocked up or anything like that. That's misinformation. You're using the wrong terms. Yes, clickbait. I want you to click. You see, the headlines are for. They're not for, just to throw out there. You have to click. Nobody clicks anymore. That's one of the problems. And here's the thing, Jar Jar. You clicked. So the bait worked. You're the fish. Jar Jar. You're the fish. There's no thing as first off, who says colored? And first, it's 2026, first off. Second off, who says colored? The colored card? How old are you, Jar Jar? I mean, let's be honest. How old are you? You using colored? Were you are you like Jerry Jones? Was you standing in the back when they wouldn't let the black kids in the school? Tell me the truth, Jar Jar. It's all right. Is that the truth? See, people, when they say stuff like Jar Jar, when they say my boy quit with the colored card, they don't actually have any type of evidence to say anything that I'm saying is incorrect. I still ain't seen old boy come back, Reese. Now I'm asking Jar Jar, point out what I said was wrong. You point out what I said was wrong. Explain to me how it's incorrect. Are you trying to tell me that black people aren't treated differently in America? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you saying that's not a fact? Do you not just see what your president is doing? Are you trying to say minorities are not treated better? Are you trying to tell me, Jar Jar, that if Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson played the exact same game, that on Monday morning in the shows that you like to watch, they wouldn't be talked about differently? Did anybody ever say that Josh Allen should become a tight end? Because he was terrible in college. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. Did they ever say he should move to fullback? Did they ever say, even though he only completed 50% of his passes in college, that he should change positions? Did they say he couldn't pass? Even though he runs 18, 20 QB powers over a four game span, do anybody just call him a runner? When they dumbed down the offense for him, did they question his intelligence? Tell me where I'm wrong, Jar Jar. Tell me where I'm wrong. Well, see, they don't want to hear that. Now I never get an answer. I never get an answer. It's always you pulling the race card. Well, if I pull the card, there's a reason. Nobody's just pulling cards for no reason. I'd rather talk about the Hyman test or whatever show I was watching. Zion Williamson got to stop messing with these girls with the BBLs. The BBLs is his weakness. What a waste of potential. What a waste of potential. At least when this happened to like Dwight Howard, when he came into the league, he still played well. It's just a waste. You hate to see a waste of potential. But here's the thing. When you're making $100 million, $200 million, I mean, who cares about going into Hall of Fame and winning championships? Get that BBL. And then, here's the thing. At least make him attractive. He must like the ugly. That's why when you go to Duke, brothers, don't go to Duke. It messes up your mind. Duke's supposed to be like, a pristine organization, a university. Shouldn't Coach K had taught? Was Coach K there? Had he retired yet? Shouldn't he have taught him something? He should have taught him something, but I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Those BBL bandits, man, it's just too much. This NIL stuff is getting out of control too. The stuff with Devon Williams over in Washington is out of control. I've decided that I'm just going to not worry about it. Here's what I want to know as a alumni of a prestigious university, that football is very important to. I've decided that I'm just gonna be like, just tell me who's on the roster when it's all over. Because you're getting upset about the kids leaving and taking the money and going to the rivals or whatever it may be. I can't deal with it. Because it's not transparent, so you don't really know why. Like you don't know why. I think I would assume most of it has to do with money. I know at Ohio State they're real focused on you. If you want to be here, they're very much like a dude that doesn't really care about how hot their girlfriend is. It's like if you want to be here, you're gonna be here. We're gonna offer you, fair value, but we're not gonna do anything crazy. And I respect that in a certain sense. I mean, if somebody's just gonna leave for the money, you just gotta let them go. If they're gonna leave, if they want some assurances, it's hard to get assurances at Ohio State. Am I gonna play? Say Quincy Porter, going to coach's office. Listen, I'm only making, I don't know how much they gave him. I'm only making 500,000, whatever, 250,000. I need I need that bumped up to $1 million. And B, I need assurances that I'm going to play above Chris Henry Jr. when he comes in. And the reason I need that is because I got 6 schools right here willing to give me $1 million. And if you're Ohio State, what do? Because Chris Henry's coming in and you already said he's going to be playing next to Jeremiah. What do? Your nickel cornerback says, hey, somebody says another team is you paying me $100,000, $50,000. Other team says I can be the number 1 DB and they're gonna pay me $250,000. Or can you guarantee me I'm gonna be the number 1 DB? Can you get me up to 200,000? I don't know. I think that's the problem that the Texases and the bigger schools are having. See, Texas Tech and an Ole Miss have never been at that level of a Texas or Ohio State or Alabama, right? So they just want the talent and to figure it out later. So they overpay. Ohio State and Alabama and Texas are like, we're these blue blood schools. Either you want to play with us or you don't. Now we have to see how that works out. We saw what happened to Dabo Luther King. They didn't work out too well for Dabo Luther King. He tried the same thing. Said, listen, I ain't paying all this money for all of these players. You want to get some money, maybe a couple of you, but I'm not going crazy with this money. You come to Clemson because you want to go to Clemson. Didn't work out too well for him. So it's a very, 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 very fine line. But I can't worry about it. I hope their children, I do think there shouldn't be 4,000 kids in the transfer portal. I think nobody really wants to grind it out anymore. It used to be if you came in as a freshman, you might not get no PT until you were a junior. And you worked hard. So when it was time, you were ready to go. But it's not like that anymore. Hell, it's not, even if you're a starter, people are leaving if there's more money on the table. And I can't blame them. Because imagine, someone like Quincy Porter, he caught 6 passes last year. And another team is like, we give you $1 million. We give you $2 million. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to leave. You have no choice. I mean, you have a choice. I mean, you can say I'm going to stay with a better team where I have a chance to be a number 1 draft pick, and I'm starting across from Jeremiah Smith. So I just saw what happened with Carnell Tate. But, sometimes it's just you want the money. I'm about to leave. Where are you? I don't think Jar Jar's coming back. I don't think Jar Jar is coming back. I do like in the games, the college games. That's tough. I'm gonna go with Oregon. I think Indiana may be feeling themselves a little bit. Bama was always a little up and down. I think Oregon wants that revenge. It's a neutral site. Yeah, I'm going with Oregon, and I'm gonna go with Ole Miss just for the story. Even though he's getting paid off of it, I would if Ole Miss won the entire thing. I think that would be great. That would be great just for what Lane Kiffin did. So I'm gonna go with an Ole Miss Oregon championship. Now, like I said, that's not a championship you would have seen in the last 20 years, but straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. Use your brain. It's a tool. Don't let these media people corrupt you into thinking certain things about certain individuals. They get off on certain people failing and they get off on certain people succeeding. You can see it every time that they're on television. This is not like it was 20, 30 years ago. They're actively hoping people fail. They're actively hoping people succeed to reinforce whatever narrative they're trying to push. So it's very important to you as the fan to be open-minded. What I suggest is go to YouTube, find some local guys, even though sometimes the local guys can be even worse. But find some people that don't have it as much inherent bias and just watch for yourself and make your own opinion. That would be my advice to you in this new year. Now I'm going to play some records on my record player and see if I don't break it. I got two. My wife got me two records to start. She got me the Black Album with Jay-Z and Off the Wall with Michael Jackson. So we're gonna go see that. Yeah, I mean, just before we get out of here, AJ. Justin Herbert, very talented. I think he's going to be a great quarterback for a long time. But he's just not going to. Besides Acho, who's odd. You really don't see too much. Pushback on that. It was. It was funny because people, and in some instances, it's not white or black. It's just stupid. I remember there was some list of like top quarterbacks or quarterbacks you want to have now. And on the list, it had like Jaden Daniels. And I don't have no issue with Jaden Daniels, but that's just 1 year. You cannot put Jaden Daniels over Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, some of these other guys off of 1 year. Like I said, these guys just not equipped really to talk. They're equipped, but they choose to do this because, like George I did say, it's clickbait. I understand. You got to get people to watch. You got people to listen. You got to get people to watch. You got to get people to listen. That is important. That is our job. It's no fun if I go on here and I don't see that 5 people watched. That's not it. Right now, like 600 people are watching right now. 700 people. That's cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate the set. Well, actually, 1.6, 1,600 people have watched what I had to say for 40 minutes. I appreciate that. You don't gotta listen to me either. It's not my job to change your opinion. I'm just trying to get you to see what's going on so you can make an informed opinion yourself. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully, I'm doing a good job of that. All right, I see you guys on Robe Talk Friday.